Be part of the conversation. Tell us what you think in the comment section. And please like and share our videos with your friends and family. The next broadcast will start shortly. If you care about South Africa and want to make a positive difference, then join the DA. Visit our website at da.org.za for more information. Find out who represents you in your ward and district, and who are the DA mayors working for you in your town or city, and which MPs represent you and your causes in Parliament. On our website, you can learn more about our latest campaigns and how you can get involved. Join the Democratic Alliance to rescue South Africa. Become an activist, become a councillor, become a member of Parliament if you care about South Africa. Please visit donate.da.org.za. Donate to a cause you believe in. Donate to make a difference. Let's rescue South Africa. Join the DA, because the DA gets things done.
In 2006, the Democratic Alliance won Cape Town by just one seat.
With just 42 votes, he recently won Ngeni.
Saletha intuthuko ebonakalayo endaweni zasemakhaya.
Because people voted for change.
DA-run Midvaal is now the best-run municipality in Gauteng.
And a new story was written for the Western Cape when people voted DA.
But if you want a new government that works, then you have to vote for it.
In this election, every single vote will count. Your vote can rescue South Africa. Vote DA.
Hello South Africa, my name is Kwena Mal. Today is election day. I hope everyone is as excited as we are. This is the most important election since 1994 and people are hungry for change. Across the country, people are lining up at their various voting stations. This is giving us the same feeling as the lines we are seeing in London. People are hungry for change and we can rescue South Africa, but we need every single South African to go out and vote. We are currently in KZN at Northwood College, the voting station where DA Federal Leader John Steenhuisen will be casting his ballot today to rescue South Africa. KZN, the future Premier of KZN, Chris Papas, is also here, as well as various provincial leaders of KZN in for the DA. And I must tell you that, as you can see behind me, it is absolutely amazing. People are at the DA tables trying to find out more about what the party stand for. We've had a few issues inside with the power, but things are moving here. Things are happening, and we are very, very, very excited to be here. Now, for all South Africans voting today, remember that today you'll be getting 3 ballot boxes. One of the ballots you'll be getting is your regional, national. There you'll be voting representative that will be going to the National Assembly to represent your regional issues. It's very simple there. You put an X next to the DA. You'll be getting your provincial to national ballot, and same thing there. Put an X for the DA and you get your national ballot. Simple, you put an X next to the DA, an X next to the DA in order to rescue South Africa. Now, we have very simple key priorities. If you need to find out more about our plan to rescue South Africa, to rescuesa.org.za, download our manifesto. We want to end load shedding. We want to halve the rate of violent crime. We want to create jobs. We want to ensure that children get high quality education at a basic level. We want to make sure that all South Africans are lifted out of poverty. We have millions of South Africans that are living below the breadline, and we need to lift 6 million South Africans out of poverty. But if you want to find out more information, as I said, go to rescuesa.org.za. You'll find information there. But all of our policies and all of our promises are built on things that we are currently doing where we govern. This is not a pie in the sky, things that we've thought about on the fly. There are things that we can achieve inside the places we govern. We're ending load shedding. It can be seen inside the Western Cape, where we have 2 municipalities that are battling to be the first municipalities in the country to ensure that there's no load shedding. Inside the city of Tshwane, we've recently gone out on tender to ensure that we're able to secure 1,000 megawatts of power from private power producers in order to ensure that citizens aren't forced to endure the struggles of load shedding. Where we govern, we are creating jobs. You look over the last 5 years, majority of jobs created inside this country, in fact 4 out of 5 created inside the DA Western Cape. And you just need to look at Midvaal in Gauteng, where the provincial unemployment rate is sitting at over 34%, but in Midvaal it's sitting at 17.2%, because where we govern, we cut red tape, and where we govern, we create jobs. And so this is a very exciting election. This is really an opportunity for us to rescue South Africa. But I think DA Federal Leader John Steenhuisen is slowly making his way into the voting station, and so we will be crossing over live to him shortly. So you don't want to go anywhere, South Africa. We're going to cross over there now.
For the first time in 30 years, the ANC government will lose its majority.
Opposition parties have united as the multi-party charter for South Africa.
A strong democratic alliance with a proven track record
can anchor a new government that serves the people.
But a new government that works is only possible if you vote for it. Let's unite and rescue South Africa. Vote DA.
Thank you and welcome back. I am now joined by Dean, who is our provincial chairperson here in KZN. Dean, today is the big day. How are you feeling about voting today?
Good, feeling good. It's been a good, strong start for us in this province, and we're obviously fighting to get Chris into the Premier's office of KwaZulu-Natal. I'm really blown away by the support, but we obviously want everyone to come out and vote. Of course, vote for the DA. If you want to vote for the ANC, please stay at home. But if you'd like to come out and vote for the DA, please get to your nearest voting station, and let's get as many votes in the ballot box, and let's get our premiers into office, and let's make sure that we're able to rescue South Africa, and particularly rescue KZN.
Now, I've been lucky enough to join you for a few of your provincial events here, your rock, the registration, as well as your final provincial rally. And I must say, I've never seen such energy, such excitement inside this province before. People really uniting behind the DA. But you've been traveling across the province with Chris Pappas. How are people receiving the DA?
People are excited about the DA. They are, energized. They see in Chris Pappas an amazing candidate who cares for this province, cares for the people, is able to speak to them, is able to understand them, and it's a 7-point manifesto that he wants to implement that can really change the lives of people. So we're really excited. I know people are excited. We've now just got to get to 9 o'clock and get as many votes in the ballot box as possible.
Now, for those watching at home, what could people expect from a DA-led KZN?
Jobs. Jobs is our priority. It's our number one priority. 300,000 real jobs in this province. A provincial police service that answers the phone when you call them. Water in every tap. We want to create a water infrastructure agency that ends the shocking water crisis that we have across this province. And we want to cut the waiting times in clinics and hospitals by half. So these are game changers for this province of KwaZulu-Natal, and I think they could really put us on par with the Western Cape and maybe even overtake the Western Cape in 5 years' time. So that's what we're aiming for. We want to make KZN a better place, and I think we can do that through the DA and with Chris Pappas.
Now, a lot of people believe that, you know, a DA government in KZN is impossible. But we saw, for example, in Umgeni, where Chris Pappas became mayor, that it is possible. People are ready for change. But what would your message be to those that maybe feel hopeless, that feel that their vote might not make a difference, and that there's no chance of a DA government taking over in KZN?
Well, it's absolutely very possible. MK is eating the ANC alive in this province. I can tell you, this is where the ANC is going to suffer the biggest defeat. And that gives us every opportunity to form and be a part of a government in KwaZulu-Natal, just like we are in the Amhlatuze municipality, in the Umgeni municipality. The DA is growing across this province. So the opportunity for a DA government is never and not more realistic than here in KwaZulu-Natal, but it can only take place if everyone that wants to vote for the DA comes out, supports us, vote for the DA, vote for Chris, rescue KZN and rescue South Africa.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen in some of the SRF polls as well, in terms of our own polling as well, that we are in the lead. We really can rescue KZN. It is possible. Dean, what would your final message be for people of KZN watching at home in the run-up to this crucial election? I think voting closes at 9 o'clock. What's your message to the people?
Get off your couch, get out of your pool, leave the beach, and get down to your nearest voting station, and let's vote for the DA and vote for Chris Pappas.
Perfect. Dean, thank you so much. You've heard it here. Get off your couch and go out and register to vote. We'll now be crossing over to the we're crossing over to the voting station where John Steenhuisen is currently casting his vote. We have a team that is inside the voting station with them, as well as a ton of media houses. There's a lot of great energy today. And a lot of excitement around John Steenhuisen casting his vote today. As you can see, the lines are extremely long. These are all people that have come out to cast their vote to rescue this country. Chris Pappas is also standing here waiting for his opportunity to cast his vote. And there you go. We are inside the voting station where John Steenhuisen is about to call.
DA leader John Steenhuisen. What qualifies the DA to run the country?
Firstly, we do not tolerate corruption. And where the DA governs, life is better. And that is why millions of South Africans are moving to DA governments. We still have much more to do. But in the past year, the Western Cape created over 300,000 new jobs and is working every day to become load shedding free. We can bring this DA difference to the rest of South Africa, but only if you vote for the DA.
I'll leave you on the camera.
John? How's it? Can we get Shiraz?
Yeah, they want to. He wants to photo underneath you. Okay. Welcome, Jared.
Oh, stop that.
Dragged up, Jack. What's your daughter, please, John? Shiraz, get in here.
John, can I have a photo?
Okay. Oh, okay. No problem. Where do you want to do it? Okay, sharp. Right.
Steenhuisen, thank you so much for your time. Firstly, just your impressions on how the system was working here. Are you happy with casting your vote here today?
Yes, absolutely. I think it went smoothly. Certainly observing the special vote process the last 2 days, it's also gone smoothly. Of course, there's been a few hiccups here and there, but I'm generally satisfied with the way the IEC have conducted the last 2 days. And if today's and this station is anything to go by, it's going to be a smooth, easy process to make sure that South Africans can cast their vote and make tomorrow a better country.
Yes. Are you confident that the DA could win this election?
Well, of course, you're going to go into an election for second place, but I'm also mindful of the fact that no party in this election will receive an outright majority. And for the first time in 30 years, there's an opportunity for change in South Africa at a government level. Every other election before this, it has been a foregone conclusion that the ANC was going to win. It was always about just how much. This election, all bets are off. And so we're heading into coalition country after this election. It won't be the same as it's been over the last 30 years. And I think that should excite Democrats all over the country and certainly those who value democracy all over the world.
Having spoken about coalitions, are you only willing to go into coalition with the multi-chartered parties, or are you also willing to work with the ANC or even the MK party?
I've said very clearly that we only go into coalition with parties that share our values, principles and common objectives. There's no use going into coalitions with parties that don't share your same values and principles, because they don't. That leads to instability. So I've signed agreement with 10 other political parties, and we've been working very hard over the course of the last year to be able to put forward an alternative offer to South Africans. We've synthesized our policy offers, we've put on the table alternatives, and I'm very confident that the multi-party charter will get over 50% plus one. If that's not the case, we will convene as the multi-party charter over the course of the next few days, probably in Johannesburg, have a look at the lie of the land, and then decide what the next step for us to take is. But what I can tell South Africans is that the parties to the Charter will always put the interests of South Africa first, will always put the interests of the people that we serve first, because we are determined to build a better country.
Mr. Steenhuisen, when you look at the lay of the land thus far, what stats have you received of people going into voting stations? How are they voting? Well, how are you looking thus far?
Very good. We're very happy with the differential turnout yesterday and the special votes, and I think it's a good portent of things to come. I think you're going to see a high turnout amongst opposition voters who are excited that for the first time in 30 years there now is a path to victory for the opposition, and I think that's going to drive turnout quite substantially over the course of the day. And we're calling on all South African voters to come out and make your mark, because together we can build a better country, and that tomorrow can be a better country.
Your message to the Muslim community, particularly those who may have certain views about stances on Palestine and Israel?
Our stance is completely rational and reasonable. We're not on the side of Israel, we're not on the side of Palestine. We're on the side of peace and lasting peace in the region, which is why we believe fundamentally in a two-state solution that delivers a sovereign, unoccupied, independent Palestine that lives in peace alongside a secure Israel. That's why we've also been consistent in calling for a release of the hostages and for parties to get around the table so they can bring lasting peace to that region. I don't believe that bombardment and war resolves anything. I don't think it's going to release the hostages. I think the sooner we can get mature heads around a table from both sides to bring lasting peace to that area, but also to that region, I think the sooner that happens, the better it will be.
John, just zooming in on KZN, you've said that a lot of people may be surprised. Just speak to us about this.
Well, KZN is going to be one of the two major battlegrounds provinces, this and Gauteng. And also don't write off the Free State. I think the Free State is going to be the dark horse in this election. I think the ANC is in for a rude surprise there. But here MK have torn into the ANC's support. They've taken over wholesale structures, and the ANC is now polling in the 20s, which is unheard of in KwaZulu-Natal. And what that has done is open up a state of play that will allow a consolidation of opposition parties to perhaps form a majority here after the election. KZN politics on the 30th of May is going to be a completely different ballgame to what it was on the 28th of May.
Mr. Steenhuisen, I am seeking clarity in reference to Samkele's question about coalitions. You said that you are open to coalitions with the parties you've signed agreements with. We know that the ANC is not one of those parties.
Correct.
You're saying that any coalition with the ANC.
Correct. Well, what I've said very clearly is I don't think we're going to solve the problems of South Africa by keeping the same people around the same table, making the same bad decisions with the same bad results for South Africa. And I think this morning you've got a great juxtaposition. Just before me, Sbu Ndebele, the former premier of this province, came to vote. This is a man who's facing corruption and maladministration charges from his time as the transport minister in this country. He is still, obviously wanting to see justice in this case and to see him charged properly. But isn't that an incredible juxtaposition that he is quite proudly able to come and don an ANC t-shirt and vote in front of the cameras, despite the fact that he joins 97 other of his comrades and colleagues who have been found by the Zondo Commission to have been involved in alleged corruption, maladministration and jobs for pals that have crippled our country. So I don't think keeping those people around the cabinet table is going to solve the problems facing South Africa, which is why I fundamentally believe that residents in this election need to vote for change, and they need to vote for a clean, accountable government, and that can only come through the multi-party charter and its allies. There are other parties that are not currently part of the multi-party charter. It remains to be seen how they do in this election. But if the multi-party charter doesn't get over the 50% plus one mark, we will talk to other parties that are not part of the charter to see what can be done to prevent a doomsday coalition between the ANC and the EFF taking place, or instability and chaos. And I think that, as I said, the DA is ready to play its responsible part as an anchor tenant in an alternative government that will deliver for the people and not for the politicians.
Mr. Steenhuisen, under the leadership of a DA government in a coalition, what are the very first things on a national level that needs to be addressed in this country?
The first thing needs to be done is to open up and break the government monopoly on electricity generation and supply. You cannot grow an economy, you cannot create jobs, you cannot build a better life for people without electricity. And then a major focus on infrastructure to ensure that our infrastructure is able to facilitate growth. Our road network is in destruction, our rail network has been destroyed, our ports and harbours are destroyed and inefficient and ineffective, and that is holding back economic growth. Thirdly, we would introduce a new bill that would bring in the scorpions so that we could start going after the corrupt, and we will start with the 97 people who are named in the Zondo Commission report to have a multidisciplinary task team to go after them, to make sure that they are prosecuted and thereby setting an example. And then within the first 100 days, we're ready to table the end cadre deployment bill in Parliament that will bring to an end for any political party the prospect of being able to deploy people into key positions that are loyal only to the party and not to the people, and are deployed based on know who, not know how, because we need to have a stable, honest, effective public service to be able to deliver to the people of South Africa. You can have the best policies, the best plans. If you don't have a public service that is fit for purpose and able to implement those, you don't have a chance in hell of getting your policies passed.
Mr. Steenhuisen, how are you faring in the Western Cape, knowing that some have predicted that the DA may be dropping within that particular province as well?
I look forward to baking a whole lot of humble pies for some analysts after this election about the Western Cape. I'm confident there that the people of the Western Cape will reward the DA for its excellent stewardship of the economy, clean, accountable government, keeping people safe through the law enforcement advancement program that's arrested 27,000 criminals in the past year. They will reward the Western Cape government for the 360,000 new jobs that were created in the Western Cape over the last year. And I think they'll reward the DA governments there for the 120 billion investment now in infrastructure over the next 10 years, where 75% of that budget is going to be ploughed into the Kailichas, the Guguletus, the Langas and Nyangas of the world. But there's just too much at stake, I think, for the people of the Western Cape to throw away their votes and throw away a good government.
How have you been...
that all-important youth vote, of course, across the board, political parties were eyeing that. Just from what you've seen anecdotally today, from what you're hearing on the ground, are you pleased with the young voter turnout?
Yes, absolutely. And I think I'm very pleased with the young voter registration as well. I think that young people are realizing more and more that they may not be interested in politics, but it's been very interested in them. It's eating up their NSFAS money. It's destroying their ability to be able to start a small business and their entrepreneurial efforts. It is holding them back from being able to find work in an economy that's not growing. If you don't fix the politics, you can't fix any of those things. And I think young people have come to the fore in this election, certainly in the registration and certainly in the voter queues that we see here today.
John, you are talking about the chaos, preventing the chaos. What chaos maybe are you worried about?
In terms of?
In terms of collision, of collision.
Well, I'd hate to see a situation at a national level like what you see in Johannesburg, where there's been a massive over-fragmentation of the vote, where you have 18 parties, 11 of which have less than 1% of the vote. And it makes it impossible to be able to form a stable coalition. And that's why I've been telling people, come out and vote for the DA, because we will be the stable anchor in a new coalition, allow us to be able to form something new in the country. I do worry that if there's an over-fragmentation of the vote, that you're going to see repeated at a national and provincial level, the type of things we've seen in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. The best way to avoid that is by making sure you vote for a strong party with a track record of delivery that's able to demonstrate leadership in these coalitions.
Mr. Steenhuisen, how are you dealing with the simmering tensions that are seemingly there between yourself and the IFP, knowing the tensions that are there between the Zululand district mayor and the provincial leadership? How will your premier candidate Papas work when the tensions are palpable between you and the DA? And
look, I think that every election you see the temperatures going up a little bit. We have a very good relationship with the IFP. VF Schlebisa and I speak regularly. He's part of the multi-party charter. He's a cool head, and I've no doubt that whatever tensions may rise during the election, they will quickly simmer down and we will be able to work together. We've been working together very well with the IFP over the course of the last 5 years. We're in a coalition with them in a number of municipalities. We've been signed a service delivery charter, and I'm absolutely sure that they will find working with Premier Papas a wonderful experience, because he's a young man who transcends political boundaries, he transcends cultural boundaries, and I think he is a very compelling candidate who wants the best for KwaZulu-Natal, and that's why we put him forward.
Mr. Steenhuisen, under your leadership, what would be your plan with regards to the NHI bill?
Well, what we would do is repeal the NHI bill, send it back to Parliament to ensure that there's a proper and full discussion. We can have universal access to basic healthcare in South Africa, and it should be all of our goals. The NHI is not going to do that. The NHI is going to create an Eskom out of the healthcare industry in South Africa and provide yet another big pot of money to be looted, like Eskom's been looted, like Denel's been looted, like SAA's been looted, like every other pot of money's been looted. We have a compelling plan which we tried to push into the NHI during the parliamentary process, which would ensure good quality healthcare for every South African, regardless of their economic circumstances. And we're delivering it where we govern in the Western Cape, where no citizen is more than 5 kilometers from a good quality healthcare facility that heals the sick and provides good services. We can do that at a national level, but it's going to require a bit more maturity than the current approach. This NHI signing into law was a gimmick, a political gimmick by the president. He knows that his government didn't have the 200 billion rand to fund it. He knows they don't have the capacity to do it. And sadly for him, it's backfired, because if you've seen the ANC's polling in recent days, it has squeezed the ANC, particularly amongst the black middle class, who have fought their way through in an aspirational way, despite the ANC's holding back of the economy, to a position where they can provide medical care for their families now, and they don't want to see that destroyed by a bill that was signed for nothing other than political mileage. And I'm calling on all South Africans to support us in this election. We will get universal access to basic health care right, and we will make sure that it happens faster. NHI is going to set that goal back by a full generation if implemented in its current format.
Under the multi-party charter, have you had discussions yet with regards to who would be the country's president, the deputy president, and those type of stuff?
No, we haven't had any discussions around that, and obviously what that would have done if you had chosen a presidential candidate would have given one of those parties an unfair advantage. The approach that we've adopted is that we will see who gets elected after the election. We will then come together as the multi-party charter and have a discussion about who we would put forward together as the best candidate to represent the MPC should it get a majority. And I think that is the wiser way to go. We don't run presidential elections in South Africa. They are parliamentary elections. The parliament elects the president, not the people of South Africa. And while we have that system in place, it's important to see who gets elected. As I say, there may be somebody outside of the charter that might become a compelling candidate. And what you don't want to do is to shoehorn yourself into a situation where you've got no room to move then after the election results. The people of South Africa are today going to deal the cards, and the parties are going to have to play with the cards that have been dealt by the electorate today.
And John, your final message? People of South Africa?
Get out and vote. Got to get out and vote. This is the most consequential election since 1994. In 1994 was about economic and political freedom. This election is about whether our democracy survives or not, and whether our country has a better future. I fundamentally believe that tomorrow is a better country, and that's why it's important that everybody out there comes out and makes their voice heard. This isn't Morkel's where you get a 2-year guarantee. This decision you live with today is going to last a full 5 years. So make sure you use that vote and use it wisely to make sure you get the country, the government, and the future that you and your family deserve.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, everybody. South Africa has the potential to be a great nation, but it breaks my heart hearing from so many people who are struggling to feed their families. People are tired of corruption, tired of load shedding, tired of empty promises, but it doesn't have to be this way. The Democratic Alliance is on a mission to rescue South Africa. Where the DA already governs, life is better. And that is why millions of people are moving to DA governments. Every day, we are working harder to do more. For the first time in 30 years, united as the multi-party charter for South Africa, we have a real chance to bring in a new national government that works. A strong Democratic Alliance will anchor a new government that can rescue South Africa. But we need every single South African to unite and join the rescue mission.
A strong DA can rescue South Africa. Vote DA.
Thanks for watching. All across our beautiful country, people are joining forces to elect the new government that can rescue South Africa. Like and follow us on Facebook, TikTok,